Good.
So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I welcome you all for.
Anjum ma'am, Salaam Alaikum. Your voice is little low. Can you just little raise it? The speaker part.
Okay, just oh, it will be okay. So once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I welcome you all for this wonderful evening where we will be discussing about the African continent, the culture there, the people over there. And of course, as we know about Africa, yes, it is the second largest continent in the world. And some of the ships and the technology that comes from Africa. It is home to the largest river, the longest river in the world, and the largest desert in the world is in Africa. And most of the diamonds in the world come from Africa. And of course, the people who like chocolate, so most of the cocoa beans are made in Africa. So this are some of the facts about Africa that we know. And yes, like it has nearly 54 countries and more than 1,500 different languages are being spoken in Africa. So let's explore more about Africa. And yes, we have many people in Africa, many beautiful hearted people from Africa in Idym. So today it's going to be a very great opportunity to listen to every one of them. To start with today's function, let's start from our chief guest, Dr. P.K. Rajput sir. Sir, I welcome you for this conference, and let's start from your inspiring talk.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anjum, ma'am. Salaam Alaikum to you. Salaam Alaikum to all my brothers, sisters, brothers and sisters across the world. Thank you, Ravichi and IDYM, for giving me such a great opportunity, and my lot of love and respect to Dr. Emmanuel, which I can see, Dr. Rania ma'am, which I can see, Mohammed MD Kamal Sahab, Sudhakar Singh sir, Dr. Revati, and Madhuri, Professor Madhvi, I can see her smiling, Dr. Gaurav Sharma ji, my brother, Ambassador Dr. Iman, right, my sister from Egypt, and Professor Dr. Robin, Gracia, Ambassador Dennis, and all wonderful people who had joined here when we are celebrating Africa. Africa is one of the finest countries, right, because when I say countries, it's one of the finest. And today we are going to talk on the strength in the diversity based on Africa. With very wonderful topic. I remember the name of the two quotes of the wonderful person. I'm sure you must be knowing about these two persons. One is Angelina Jolie. And everybody knows about this great actress, Angelina Jolie. See, I can see the smile on the face of Dr. Emmanuel. And of course, Anjum ma'am also as well, and so many other people. So what she said about it, our diversity is our strength. And what a dull and a pointless life it would be if everyone was the same. I repeat her statement, our diversity is our strength. What a dull and pointless life it would be if everyone was the same. So what a wonderful statement she has given on the diversity. And at the same time, I also got reminded by a great person, Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie is basically from Ethiopia, right? And I'm sure my all brothers and sisters from Ethiopia must be remembering about this great personality, because he was an emperor who ruled the country from 1930 until 1974. And he was a prominent figure in Africa during the struggle of liberation from the colonialism, because like India, Africa was also under the thing. So that is a lot of change that happened under him. And what he said, we should cherish our diversity in Africa, because it is our blessings and our strength. Because it is our blessings and our strength. What a wonderful statement this great emperor has given for the Africa. So just now, Anjum ma'am said about it, that Africa is having 1,500 different languages spoken. That is true. And at the same time, as per the United Nations, there are 54 countries have been ignited in Africa. And that is the reason it is the second largest, biggest continent after India. That is where Africa is, which is a big thing. There are so many positive things out there I like to highlight about Africa, because it's a land of great culture. And because I had been to Africa multiple times, because I was covering Africa during my last tenure, and I visited so many parts of Africa. So in spite of the challenges, I will not talk of the challenges because challenges are everywhere in every country. Different challenges are there. But at the same time, I would like to talk about the significant progress which Africans, they are doing it. They have that resilience. They have that affection. They have that determination to come out from the challenges, right? And the challenges will be there. But I have seen that they are ready to fight with the challenges, not fight with the other system, right? And especially in the reduction of the poverty, infrastructure development, advances in the healthcare, education system, trade and governance. These are the things are there, which personally, when I was visiting African countries, I saw that how people, they have that strength which is coming up from their mind that yes, they want to do it and they want to do a lot of changes in that. Apart from this, Africa is also known for its Victoria Falls, the Sahara Desert, Mount Kilimanjaro, and its wildlife, like including gorillas, lions, elephants, rhinos. And at the same time, we should not forget the people, they like to enjoy the Mauritius as well. Mauritius is also a beautiful part of Africa. Right, that's the continent of Africa. So people, they like to go for the honeymoon. People, they like to go for the shooting. And of course, it's an English-speaking state, right? Though it has been governed by most of the Indians who came 3 generations, 4 generations back from Bihar. But of course, it has been taken care very well. And they are such a cultured people that you love to speak to them. And they are so sophisticated, which is a great thing. Coming to Africa, the language is English language. When you talk to even a small child, you will find that lot of love etiquettes is there. And I have seen one thing whenever when we used to visit hospitals and all or any other places, the small child of 5 years, 6 years of the age, he or she always used to wish, good morning, sir, good afternoon, sir. This is the culture which has been added in Africa. There's a beauty of the Africa which I like to highlight it here. Now coming to the which are the best countries, we all know about it, but again, I like to highlight for the sake of highlighting, South Africa is one of the best country, right? Tanzania is the country, Kenya famed for the safaris. People, they like to go for safaris, and you will see a lot of the things which is coming up. This is basically from the Kenya. And I had been to Kenya. I have enjoyed Kenya safari. I have seen not many beautiful things which had happened. I had been to South Africa multiple times, Johannesburg and Cape Town. I have stayed there. I have seen what is the beauty of these Africa, and these things are there in that. And apart from this, I like to highlight basic system of the education, right? So they have the limited resources and the facilities are also less, but they are ready to change the things. And believe you me, India and Africa, they are having a very good relationship. When I talk about the good relationship, I like to highlight because I have visited at a couple of the ambassadors' place who had come from different part of Africa. I went to the embassy, I met them, I had a discussion with them because from a pharmaceutical company, we like to support them. And the way it has been supported by the Indian government, because I was a part of CII when I was talking about building the African countries along with the Indian government initiative. It was the last year at Hotel Taj, Delhi. There was a big conference was there, and I had been invited to speak on pharmaceutical and the development part on the behalf of the government. So what they said is, India is helping in terms of technology, in terms of the trade and development. Many of the Indian industries are coming to the African different places. They are helping the Africans. They are giving the job to the Africans, and they are ensuring that they should also be becoming a more wealthier, and they should be take care for the family, which is very important. India is really helping in every way because not only the entrepreneurs, the government is also putting their hand and ensuring that the livelihood and the social welfare should be improved there in the African countries. They are also helping in the education through the capacity building program, offering the scholarship. I also, it came to my mind that India is providing assistance in developing the technical and the vocational education, as well as helping the African student in pursuing the higher education. We have one of the scholarship program, which is on the ICCR, that the Indian Council for Cultural Relations. And under this program, African students are coming here for the training. African teachers are coming here in areas like ICT, mathematics and science. In Africans, they are coming to India to set up that how the technology can be working, because we know that the system of the technology is not so adequate like it is happening in India. right? The charges of the Wi-Fi, the charges of brand this 4G and 4G basically, not the 5G. It's very, very high. So all these things are there, which is really pulling the thing. But at the same time, government is working there to make the things ahead. Instability is again one of the very important scenario. But in spite of that, the people, the African people, they want to live with lot of pride, and that is the reason I've seen that they keep on working, and they ensure that their now younger generation, the children should be getting an adequate education, which is a very important thing, because education is going to help all the people, either from the poverty background or the poor background or to the richer background. It is going to help a lot of the things to them, because they will be seeing the thing in a wider and a bigger angle. Last but not the least, I like to say that strength and diversity on the thing I like to have. Embracing diversity can lead to increased creativity. And that is the reason innovation and problem solving as a different perspective can bring new and varied solution to the challenges. We as an Indian, the Indian government are helping, not only India, even from the UK, a lot of help is happening to the Africa, because when I go to the Paris, when I start talking to the people, they said that yes, we should be building the African continent, which is very important. And especially they are helping for the South, West Africa, because there are French spoken people are there, and they are talking about things, they are helping. So entire that area continent has been taken care by the French people, and they are doing putting lot of industries there. So Africa is becoming a blue-eyed in the coming time, and it will be there. So by promoting an inclusive environment which celebrate the diversity of African countries, can tap into the strength of the diverse population through fostering economic, social progress along the continent, and while building the nice education system which is filled with the humanity and with the technology. So with this, thank you so much giving me time, because I have spent many months there, working there, meeting the people in the different segments and understanding the heartbeat of the Africans, the pulse of the Africans, the real need of the Africans, and how they are working out also. That was very big. So thank you, Dr. Anjum ma'am, for inviting me. Thank you, Ravi ji, and thank you, Zinat sister, and thank you, Denul, and all the wonderful dignitaries who were joined here, because here I can say all the dignitaries, they really want to build the African countries with the great relationship of India and Africa together. We all are one, my brothers, sisters. We are there to help each other. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir, that was really a great message. We are all brothers and sisters, and we are here to help each other. And of course, this is the main theme of our conference today, where we are talking about strength and diversity. And yes, as you were saying, Africa, it's a beautiful place with a beautiful culture. And because we have lived there for some years or some months that we have spent, and you were talking about it, yes, it's really a very beautiful place. And now, I think today is the day where we are going to explore more of Africa, because yes, there are people who have joined from different countries of the African continent, and they will be sharing with us. And of course, I must say, all the people from Africa who are there in IDYM, I have been observing every one of them. And when there is their turn, I will just also speak about them as soon as I call them. And thank you very much, sir, for joining. And let's move towards our guest of honor, Rania Lampa ma'am from Greece.
Okay, warm greetings from Greece. Many congratulations to IDYM for this significant initiative on the occasion of the Africa Day. Africa is this continent of 54 countries that are diverse culturally and geographically. And the culture of Africa is so varied and manifold. It consists of this mixture of countries with various tribes that each have the unique characteristic. And this is the product of a diverse population from all these people that inhabit the continent of Africa and the African diaspora. So Africa, yes, shows a considerable genetic, linguistic, cultural, ethnic diversity, and diversity is a spice of life. The most important, I think, another important thing of Africa is that it has 40% of the world's gold and up to 90% of its chromium and platinum. So the largest reserves of diamonds, platinum, and uranium in the world are in Africa. It holds 65% of the world's arable land and 10% of the planet's internal renewable freshwater source. However, today I would like to focus on the issue of African youth, because I have the chance to collaborate a lot with the youth and children there. So I would like to highlight the dynamics and the challenges, because I want to sensitize people toward these challenges and to see what we can do all of them to help these young people. In particular, I had launched 3 national projects. One was about water in Malawi, water awareness. We talk about students who didn't have school supplies and children who were thirsty. So how to teach about water to these students. I had the chance during this project to learn a lot about these challenges, and I designed activities then that had to do with using natural resources in order to create STEM activities. I remember that these students performed amazingly. They performed water experiments. They did amazing constructions using the branches of trees in order to create mind maps. They learned how to sanitize the water, because until then nobody had taught them to sanitize their water. And the impact of this project was that we managed to obtain a sanitation and filtering equipment for these children who had to walk about 90 minutes to find clean water to drink. And another one was about food awareness, how to make healthy food combinations in case of food shortage. And another more recent one was about gender-based violence in Nigeria. I'm also conducting online courses in Kenya. Kenya is thirsty for digital courses, and they want to develop their digital skills. So if we talk about African youth, Africa has the youngest population in the world, with more than 400 million young people aged between the ages of 15 and 35 years old. By 2030, young Africans are expected to make up 42% of the world's youth and account for 75% of those under age 35 in Africa. So such a young population there calls for an increase of investment in economic and social development factors in order to improve the development index of African nations. So investing in young people will not only transform their lives, but also transform communities, nations, and the whole continent. And this could help to break intergenerational poverty, address inequalities, create a stable, peaceful, and prosperous Africa. So supportive policies and programs on inclusive youth development, I think, are critical now than ever, because it's an opportunity to harness this demographic dividend, expand opportunities for young people, and this requires, of course, data and evidence on the status of African youth. Young people in Africa experience specific vulnerabilities with the labor market due to their age. So 2 indicators show worsening trends. First one is the rate of youth unemployment and the rate of youth who are not in education, who lack of education, employment, and training. These indicators are critical for intervention, given the long-term negative impacts of unemployment in youth productivity and well-being. So the poor performance of these indicators also reveals that labor markets and educational institutions may not be operating efficiently, or that this informal economic activity may not be fully captured. When they first seek for employment, African youth may find it difficult to enter the workforce due to a lack of experience, professional networks, or market desired skills that can be compounded by limited job opportunities in their communities. And even youth obtain employment, the experience and skills they lack can make them more vulnerable to labor market dynamics such as job insecurity, minimal benefits, limited skill building opportunities. So inability to access credit can further prevent the youth from economic independence. At the same time, the second important domain is the access to education, skills development opportunities. Because we have realized the importance of education, investing significantly in expanding primary, this is important, expand primary school enrollment and bring it to 80% on average. And despite this rapid expansion of primary education, there are still huge disparities and inefficiencies which persist in the education system at all levels. Barriers and gaps within education systems hinder youth from building essential skills and knowledge that they need. They need educational opportunities that are diverse, that are high quality and adaptable to the future labor market, very important. So many factors can limit actual educational opportunities. It's low quality many times, which is highlighted by inadequate numbers of teachers, sometimes for training, mismatch between curriculum and job market demands, or lack of information and communication technology and other digital tools. So by focusing on improving curriculums and expanding the variety of offerings, decision makers can improve the quality in addition to the quantity. Recently, I was in London. I was invited there. It was a workshop when we collaborated with policymakers in Zambia, and we designed STEM activities for teachers there who wanted to modernize their curriculum in order to be more adaptable to future labor market. So fostering all these efforts combined with, I forgot to say, another domain which is important for African youth is the domain of health and well-being. Because fostering the health and well-being of young Africans creates a future which is characterized by healthy communities, productive nations, and prosperous continent. Today, African youth face many social, economic, cultural changes that affect the future. They having, of course, healthy services and reduced mortality rates. African policymakers now need to invest in holistic health interventions. So improving youth well-being requires long-term prevention, because before it's too late, especially when it comes to mental health, sexual health, and chronic disease. If investment in these areas is limited, so data of them are limited, and so we need enough evidence-based methods and data coverage. So when youth are empowered, this is what I want to say, they can fully exercise their rights, they can live in an environment with good governance, they can purposefully participate in development and decision-making processes that directly impact their lives. Young people, particularly young women in Africa, are underrepresented and they have limited opportunities for political participation. I said before that even youth make up more than 60% of the continent population. The median age of African political leaders is 3 times the median age of the African population. So indicators of youth rights, governance, and empowerment demonstrate that existing leadership and decision-making process do not adequately engage young people. So there's low participation of youth in governance, as well as few policies that directly enable youth civic participation. So to transform development initiatives and harness this demographic dividend, African leadership spaces must involve youth perspectives and ideas on their rights, governance, empowerment, as well as their employment, their education, and health. So before concluding, to say what could be the recommendations, African youth need innovative, multi-sectoral perspectives, approaches that holistically address their experiences across education, health, employment, governance, as well as cross-cutting policies and programs. Policymakers and other key stakeholders need to step up their commitments for sound evidence-based policy. We need data and programs aimed at empowering young people, and with more and better data, this way, with policies, frameworks, capacity building, and partnership, we will be able to harness some support with empowerment growth. Very important principles of transparency, democracy, good governance, anti-corruption, rules of law, accountability in service delivery, as well as the effective performance of monitoring institutions, particularly parliaments, civil society organizations, youth and women participation, decision-making at all levels, equity and accessibility, multi-sectoral approaches for development, human rights for all. Ensure that youth have solid foundational skills, the case of Sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa is experiencing a learning crisis because while more children are attending school, this is a fact, but many of them learn very little. So by third grade, many students there cannot recognize a single word of a single paragraph. The lack of basic, also many of them basic numeracy. So by addressing these urgent education issues, governments could ensure that the young Africans have the basic skills to build on through further education. They should put in place programs that ensure early childhood development, because young children who start with appropriate nutrition and stimulation have greater success later in life. What we call life skills or soft skills are important, and of course, technical vocational education, which includes apprenticeships. Priorities include providing information, facilitating access to existing training, especially to disadvantaged youth, as well as ensure the availability of better training options. Of course, we need the business environment reforms that attract investment into large enterprises that can create a lot of formal wage jobs and help make these companies more competitive. That this, of course, implies improving access to finance, infrastructure services, and support the informal sector. Because they need to recognize its importance and ensure the legal status of those who work in it. Provide support by ensuring access to land, to legal space, operating business, or to public services infrastructure. Concluding, I want to say that, of course, it's not enough for African leaders to create policies and programs to address youth. Youth must be included and represented in decision-making that directly impact their lives. Engaging youth through good governance and political voice, this represents an opportunity to creatively deal with ongoing issues across this continent. Youth leaders can bring unique perspectives and skills to problem solving, such as through using new technologies or communication platforms. Leadership programs and youth consultation forums can elevate youth voices and build their skills through mentorship, training, and dialogue, fostering collaboration, innovation across generations in order to build an empowered and active African citizenry. Thank you very much, and happy African Day.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Just as you started with diversity is the spice of life, of course. And you were talking about like so many changes, and this is really a very great talk, a very inspiring talk. And you were talking about the conditions in Africa, and you also talked about the skills that should be acquired by the people over there, and the holistic development of people. That was really a great talk. And thanks for joining.
Yes, I have been working closely with teachers there. I know all the challenges they are facing, especially financial challenges. So that's why today I wanted to sensitize our educators to see how we can help them, how we can implement projects there. I want to expand my projects in Africa, find for sponsorships, anything that could help them. Because we really talk about students who don't have school supplies and children who are thirsty. We talk about this kind of students in Malawi, in Kenya, in other countries. So I think that we should focus on challenges. Anyway, thank you very much.
Great thought, and actually that was given to you that you're ready to extend your support. That's really a very great thought, and really that is a commendable work that you have been doing. Thank you very much for joining, and thank you for sharing your views with us. And now let's move on to our next speaker, next guest of honor, Laura, ma'am, from Romania. Laura,
hello, everyone. Thank you. I am Laura Stanciu, teacher from Romania. And first of all, I want to congratulate IDYM for organizing events like this, which connect the world and through which we try to find solutions, real solutions to make the future a brighter one for everyone. And as Dr. Rania mentioned before me, one of the key words in today's world is education. Education brings so many benefits and is in everything else. from development opportunities to successful employment. Everything is connected to education. By offering quality education, we bring countless benefits, not just for the students, but also for society. Because education is the one thing that gives a lot more than it receives, because we create generations which have to be responsible and whose responsibility will be to create a successful society built on adapting to modern day challenges. One of these challenges is how to bring innovation, how to bring technology in schools, how to give students the means to solve problems that this century poses before them. Everything now revolves around technology, and not many schools have the necessary tools to give students access to technology, to teach them how to use it in order to become successful and in order to have a good employment opportunity. By giving them the means to do that, the means to be in touch with what this century offers, we bring a lot of we bring the change that this world needs. Engaging the youth, as Dr. Anya said, in projects, any kind of projects related to technology, related to environment or to human rights, empowers them and gives them a voice, and this is essential. We need to hear the voices of the young generations, no matter where they are from. They are all important. They are all helping to build the future that we will have tomorrow. And this is why we need quality education. Another very important aspect is equality. Education also is related to how girls and boys are treated in today's society. We need to offer them equal opportunities. We need to give them the same chances to be successful and to do something useful for the world we live in. Another aspect is the environment, because we have done so much harm to it. We need to implement programs and projects that will help the young generations, and not only them, all people, to realize how we can save our planet, how we can bring an active contribution and to bring some improvement to all the things that need our help. There is so much pollution, there is so much so many things that hurt the environment, and this not only in Africa, in European countries, everywhere. So this brings me back to education. We need to educate people how to take care of the environment and how to bring their contribution. To conclude, I would like to give everyone to encourage everyone to do something and to put education first, because only through giving quality education we can bring a positive change. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really a great from you. Like he was talking about the quality education, and yes, of course, quality education is the thing by which we can bring positive changes in the society, and being an educator, as he was talking about how we can be contributing by promoting education, by promoting quality education and practices. That was really a great talk, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. And
Anju ma'am, can I add one thing? Anju ma'am, with your due permission?
Yeah.
So I was listening very carefully what Dr. Rania and Laura ma'am said it. I like to put it a word here. See, all the educators, they want to give the quality education. There's no doubt on that, right? So that is very, very clear. But the amount, the cost of that education, which is there, which has not been afforded by the people, most of the people. Because I have studied, right, there are two types of, one is a very filthy rich people, and the second is a very poor quality people, poor people. Sorry to say this word, right? And Dr. Emmanuel can just say, he's nodding his head, which is very important. Right, and there is a problem even for the drinking water also. So they drink the water which is a contaminated water, which is there. So if as an educator, when we are highlighting about the education system, if somebody as an educator should start providing the help in terms of providing a low cost education, because you will never compromise on the quality of the education, but you can compromise and you can give some subsidiary in terms of the education which can be given to the common person. A common poor person, which is very important. I am not an educator, but you belong to a big group of the educators, right? So if the people who are supporting the Africa, right, if they start helping and start building the things and to start providing something as a complementary to the African student, it can make a difference. And this is one of the wonderful conference. I was just reading one of the message of Dr. Revati. It is a big feast for me to attend this. Yes, it is a big feast because whenever we attend the feast, we remember the good thing which is there in that particular feast. And I further take it forward that whenever such meetings are there, there has to be some of the resolutions with the people who are leading the meet, right? Because if I am an educator, I should take care of the responsibility for 2-3 things which I'll be able to help and wherever I am going to do it. Because otherwise this meet will only be a meet. And the multiple platform, when I go now, I always say, have an action plan, and the people who have been in the position to support, please support them so that once we are going to meet next time in the next year, we can proudly say and we can immensely gracefully we can say that this is the support which we have provided and we are able to help so many of the students and the children while not charging the money from them. This is very important because I have seen that line in when I go and work in Nigeria, French West Africa, right? All these places, they really require a hand-holding help, which is very important. So I will not interfere now, but with the nodding of the head of the Dr. Emmanuel and this Dennis and the people from the Africa, I can make it out that they are feeling in their heart and mind that it is the true thing which I am talking about it. So let us take this thing as a pledge. Let us take it as a resolution and let us help them to provide a economical education, which is important without any compromise on the quality, which is there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Of course, as an educator, yes, we have a great responsibility to play. It is not like being an educator, I should be limited to my students. But of course, we should be extending support to the people who need it. And we should not be compromising on the quality of education, that we can provide low cost education to all the people around them, all the people who need it. So that's really another inspiring work coming up from you. Thank you very much, sir. And now I take this opportunity to invite another guest of honor for today's conference, Melissa ma'am from Italy.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon for inviting me to this important conference about Africa and the strength in the university. I want to speak to you about Africa, an impregnable continent, but full of opportunities. I am Italian and I live in Naples, the town of Pizza, and a town near the sea, very famous in all over the world. And a famous poet and a famous writer, De Luca, said once said that Naples can be conquered by anyone, but remains impregnable, an identity that is too strong. So is all for Africa. impregnable. Africans feel it. Last among the continents, that's of Paul Collier's Bottom's Medium, Africa has been outraged and crushed in every way, from trafficking to today, but it remains itself impregnable. There will be no Western, Chinese, or Russian who, no matter how much business they do, will ever be able to make it out of there. She is close and stays away at the same time the soul of the Black people. To quote Webb Du Bois, are multiple and elusive, perhaps because they are poorly codified or transcribed. A lot will be done about business in the years to come. Above all, in agribusiness, Africa is the only continent where free arable land remains. 200 million hectares, except for forests that should not be touched. To fill the planet, there will be an absolute need to put those lands into production, and now rare gold. But to do this, you need a method, not the wild random land grabbing that is implemented by the food multinational. The reason is not ideological. The fact is that multinationals do not involve local Africans in their business. They bet on export monocultures, the usual additive error of a perspective and non-lasting development. It would be a miracle if the Italian agribusiness sector organized itself to make an offer to this green Africa. Our small and medium-sized enterprises are much more accepted by Africans than anonymous giants such as Nestlé, Danone, etc. It will be about teaching how to produce and create the food value chain, and we can do it. It would help our small business in the sector to grow, and it would help Africans to produce at home, to learn the phytosanitary rules for exporting. The other sector is renewable energy. Here in Italy, in Africa, Iran is doing well, but more is needed. We need an electrification model adapted to the continent. Africa, apart from big cities, is underpopulated, excepting for Nigeria. This shouldn't be surprising. The continent is vast and essentially empty. So renewable mini-grids and microgrids are needed more than huge phytons for thousands of kilometers, with the risk of breakdowns and the certainty of dispersion, about 30%. Finally, logistic and transport infrastructures. Salini builds dams everywhere. The Chinese deal with railways. Another for ports. So far, so good, but roads and intermodal logistics are also needed. A sector where the situation is anarchic. A far-sighted entrepreneur would rush to buy warehouses and spaces around large ports or cities affected by beings' expansions. A potentially huge deal with a little partnership spirit and a little respect. African would open all doors for us. Key countries and sectors for Italy. We should focus on some countries within our reach, such as the Ivory Coast or Kenya, respectively Precus and Tournance of West East Africa. These are countries of extraordinary economic interest, and not only for Italian companies, considering their average size. On the contrary, we generally think, apart from all the oil and gas states of South Africa or Nigeria, which remains the most difficult, all complex economies already closely linked to the system of multinational and large Anglo-Saxon companies, French or Asian. We need to start with the countries at our level. There are three areas that offer the greatest opportunities, as mentioned: renewable energy, infrastructure, and agri-food. The Ivory Coast is the most prosperous country in the region and the one with the greatest potential for economic expansion, together with Ghana. The latter is good country for doing business with very low corruption rates, but a lot of debt. While there is more space in the Ivory Coast, in general, we should be present with where things happen. In 2016, Italy was the third source of investment on the continent after China and the United Arab Emirates, a historic fact. Passage from 21st position in 2014 to the current one testifies that to the efforts that have led many of our companies to acquire significant shares on the African market and to win contracts, not to mention the presence of a continental leader even before discovery of fields such as Zohr in Egypt and Mozambique. Many more companies could try their hand at the continent, despite all the difficulties involved. It should be known that numerous African countries have grown and beyond their size want to equip themselves with instruments of prestige and sovereignty, light aviation, railways, and miniaturized satellites for telecommunications, and the environment, and more. Here we have opportunities. Many Africans for many Italians. We say Africa, but Africas are numerous and are not alike. In both political and economic terms, countries should be taken individually or by area. What the Africans need is the real partner who can build loyalty and create stable joint ventures. Beginning is always complex and sometimes difficult, but if we manage to overcome the first phase, the result will come. What the most responsible African leaders seek and really finds is the entrepreneur, with the transmits known and trains worker and young people. To be able to really help Africa at home, it is necessary to put it into a position to produce, first for the local market, then regional, and finally worldwide. Just as Asia entered the globalization throughout manufacturing, Africa could enter it throughout every business. But to achieve this result, Italy lacks two factors: creating a system and finance. As is well known, Italians hardly create a system, but the sub-Saharan continent really needs integrated supply chains. A step in this direction is the Model Farm Initiative, developed by Mise for the production of milk and meat, which involves 11 Italian companies. It is a model to be replicated. Italian banks are also missing. It is a shortage that we have almost everywhere. For investments, our companies must turn to foreign banks with the consequence of the case. It's a time to think about dedicated financial instruments, even if it must be said that some banks have really renewed themselves in recent years. But all this is not enough. In fact, the magnitude of the impact does not reach the large mass of Italian, which instead could give a decisive turn to this challenge. The training of African entrepreneurs with the aim of giving birth to a new generation of companies capable of facing the global market is the aim of other initiatives. The idea of setting up an incubation system for entrepreneurs and business came, for example, to Letizia Moratti, who already has her own personal experience of the continent. The result is an impact that is a program of advanced entrepreneurial training courses held in Africa, active in 7 African countries, and which has so far selected almost 1,000 young people entrepreneurs. As can be seen, there are different models, but all aiming at supporting private initiative and promoting new entrepreneurships among Africans and among immigrants who decide to return. A new cooperation cannot do without involving the national private sector in developed aid to try to make initiatives sustainable over time and their protagonists and autonomous on the market. Creativity can give rise to many different initiatives, but all focused on market access. It would that thousands so far as to offer the opportunity to enter and grow at the same time. Helping them at home can therefore be the result of a connection between the private sector and cooperation, between the internationalizations of Italian companies, especially small and medium-sized ones, and the birth of true African entrepreneurships. Thank you. My speech is ended, and thank you again for listening to me.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really, great, listening from you. And as you were speaking about the different stances, how the business is running over there, and how the business opportunities are there in South Africa, in the African continent. So that was really great to hear from you. Thank you for joining, and thank you for sharing your views with us. And now I would like to invite our next guest of honor, Hadiana Devi Anutika ma'am from Indonesia.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. First of all, thank you so much, Idym, for organizing and inviting me. Also, thank you, Dr. Anjum, for the introduction, and warm greetings to all speakers and participants in this event. So we have heard amazing speech from our chief guest, Dr. Rajput, guest of honors, Dr. Rania Laura, ma'am, also my dear Melissa. So they spoke so true that we need to come together, especially in education field. So today I'm here for representing my country, Indonesia, to celebrate Africa Day. And it's a great honor to be part of this moment of occasion where we come together to commemorate the vibrancy, diversity, and remarkable achievement of the African continent. So I think we know that Africa, a land of immense beauty, rich cultural heritage, and resilient people, has captured the heart and minds of individuals across the globe. So from the ancient civilization of Egypt and Ethiopia to the breathtaking landscape of the Serengeti and Victoria Falls, Africa's allure is undeniable. So as we gather here today, thousands of miles separate us, but our shared humanity bridges the distance. We come together to honor Africa's contribution to the world, to celebrate its vibrant culture, and to acknowledge the indomitable spirit that has carried the continent through trials and triumphs. So Africa Day, in my opinion, is not only a celebration of the past, but also a recognition of the present and a vision for the future, like the previous guest honors already mentioned about it. So it's an opportunity for us to reflect upon the progress that we have made, to address the challenges that lie ahead, and to strengthen the bonds that unite us as a global community. Like, for example, Indonesia and Africa, though we geographically distant, but we share a profound sense of kinship. But we understand the struggle of colonization, for example, the fight for independence and the pursuit of development and prosperity. So both our nations have demonstrated their resilience, determination, and a deep-rooted belief in the power of unity. So as the guest honor today, I extend my deepest appreciation to the African nation for their significant contribution to the global stage. Because, yeah, I think Africa's rich tapestry of literature, art, music, and cuisine has enriched the world's cultural music, and even inspiring countless individuals and shaping the global narrative. So today, I'd like to celebrate Africa's remarkable achievements in various fields, from science and technology to literature and sports. So we pay tribute to the extraordinary talents that have emerged from its soils, the innovators who have harnessed the power of entrepreneurship, and the leaders who have championed progress and unity. So we also recognize that Africa's challenges are shared challenge. So poverty, inequality, climate change, and conflict affect all of us. Yet it's confronting these challenges that we discover the strength of our collective resolve. I think through collaboration, compassion, and understanding, we can build a brighter future for all. So as we commemorate Africa Day, let us acknowledge the power of education, knowledge sharing, and cultural exchange. So by investing in education and nurturing young minds, we unleash the potential of future generations to drive positive change. So let us foster a culture of lifelong learning, where the exchange of ideas and experiences transcend borders and enhance our collective understanding. So to conclude my speech, I express my heartfelt gratitude to the organizer of this remarkable celebration for providing us with a platform to come together to celebrate Africa's past, present, and even future, and to strengthen the bonds of friendship and cooperation that connect us. May this Africa Day be a catalyst for renewed commitment, collaboration, and solidarity. So let us celebrate the diversity, resilience, and achievement of Africa, urging a share of vision where every individual can thrive irrespective of their background or origin. So yeah, let us build a future where Africa's contribution continue to inspire and uplift all of us. So thank you so much for listening. I'm giving back to Dr. Anjum.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, of course, it's the day when we are celebrating the Africa, the achievements of Africa, and it is a really great listening to you. And thank you for joining. And with this, I will take this opportunity to call upon the next speaker, Professor Dr. Ruben Garcia from Peru.
Hello, thank you for your kind invitation. Let's have a great celebration of Africa Day. This is a very nice time for us. If we talk about the strength of diversity, we can consider the diversity increase innovation, creativity, and strategic thinking, because teams of people who come from different backgrounds can draw upon their unique experiences and a wider range of knowledge to spark new innovative ideas. So diverse cultural perspective can inspire creativity and drive innovation. Local market knowledge and insight makes a business more competitive and profitable. If we talk about cultural sensitivity, insight, and local knowledge means higher quality targeted in market. So Africa is such a vast landmass with many geographies and ecologies. There were so many valleys and other distinct and somewhat isolated areas for a population to grow and thrive without great contact with other population beyond trade. So that as we interact with others, we can build bridges to trust, respect, and understanding across cultures. Furthermore, this diversity makes our country a more interesting place to live in. As people from diverse cultures contribute language skills, new ways of thinking, new knowledge, and different experiences. Why is diversity one of our greatest strengths? Diversity, as I mentioned before, leads to innovation. Simply put, each one of us, due to know our minds are wired or experiences, and our work view has a particular lens through which we see and analyze situations and others around us. A strong culture is set of habits, norms, expectations, traditions, symbols, values, and many other things that a strength-based culture capitalizes on the strengths rather than focusing solely on improving weaknesses. Africa is home to considerable cultural, linguistic, and genetic diversity. Indeed, more than 2,000 ethno-linguistic groups are known to exist in Africa at present. The majority of languages spoken in Africa belong to 4 linguistic families: Niger, Kordofan, Afro-Asiatic, Nilo-Saharan, and Khoisan. So a diverse Africa. And we can also mention that there are over 3,000 different ethnic groups speaking more than 2,100 different languages in all Africa. The people are practice a variety of religions, including Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, and traditional religions specific to ethnic groups. And we can also mention that Africa is home to a rich and diverse animal, plant, and marine biodiversity that provide critical ecosystem services, driving a continent's economy and serving as buffers to climate change. Both in educational and professional environments, cultural diversity benefits everyone. It paves the way to better problem solving, more empathy and compassion, deepened learning, and approaches the world from various perspectives. Though the benefits of a diversity are lots of them, because diversity sparks new discoveries by incorporating new perspectives, tackling problems from a number of different angles, asking varied questions, injecting fresh ideas. We always need fresh ideas. And the importance of diversity to ensure success. The more organization is open to perspectives from people of different backgrounds, the more creative and resilient it becomes. Diversity not only improves performance, but also creates positive fiction that enhances deliberation and appends conformity. So to go to the closing of my talk, I can also tell you that individuals are more committed, innovative, loyal, but most importantly, are more comfortable sharing their ideas and perspective. Diversity is a strength, and when these differences are embraced, can encourage better results. The African continent is 20% of the planet's land. It's home to 1/4 of the world's mammal species and 1/5 of the world's bird species. At least 1/6 of the world's plant species are endemic to Africa. And to finish and to continue celebrating this great day, the continent also boasts 369 wastelands and international importance. So let me thank you for this great opportunity to participate, and see you all. Greetings from Lima, Peru.
Thank you, sir. That was really a great talk. And you talked about the different aspects of Africa, the languages, the diversity, the religion, and of course, yes, Africa is a very beautiful place. There's lots of, things to explore. And so thank you for joining, and thank you for sharing so much about Africa with us. And of course, we are celebrating the African Day. So it's time to, know about Africa and celebrate the African Day. So now I take this opportunity to call upon our next speaker, our guest of honor from India, Dr. Madhuri. Ms. Madhuri, I will welcome you, ma'am, for this. Joe.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Wow. I always love the way you moderate. It is something so intellectual, with an amazing vocabs and the phrases, the way you explain it. So always nice to hear you, ma'am. Welcome to my all intellectual dignitaries. And it was amazing, incredibly awesome the way it is going on. Happy African Day to all of you. So here I always like when it's my favorite, when I go with a rhyme. So one of the poem which I've heard, it's like Africa of green and black, of colors in between. Africa of people, of love and light from within. Africa of ethnics and languages, or of long told history. Africa of cultures and tradition, a rich tapestry. Africa of strife and victory through colonial time. Africa of struggle through imperial crime. After a war, Africa of war, both tribal and civil. Africa of peace, condemning evil. Africa of hope, freedom and liberation. Africa of growth, of change and innovation. Africa of then, men, women, slave to capture. But Africa of now, men, women reclaiming our valor. So, congratulations. Absolutely, might be the things are different, but still it doesn't change. So, I would like to start when it comes to our diversity. Unity of diversity or diversity is a strength which we have come up with the topic today because we have a great diversity in Africa and even when it comes to India. Very well, our speaker Rajput sir said, Rania ma'am, and all about all of the excellency when they come up and yeah, absolutely. When we are human being, I always say being before the Dr. Madhya, before being a teacher, I'm a human being and humanity is the most prior activity we should do. And that was a wonderful, it came up when we said, yeah, when it's required, if it's required, we should help others. So helping anyone and being an educationist, we can always we can give the devotion towards the education. So yeah, if somebody who is required needy, we will be always there with them for them. So we can collaborate it together. We can try together as a humanitarian work. So diversity can be defined as differences in the case social or cultural difference. I shall contrast opinion using also my own knowledge. If we were all the same, there would be no point in living, nothing to strive for, no one to beat. Diversity in itself is a wonderful thing, as it enriches our world, flourishing it with multinational cultures and customs. Individualism plays a significant role in understanding the assortment of tradition this world encompasses. It is unfortunate to mention that there is noticeable community of people who, or whatever reason, do not appreciate or not accept those that are different, that are different to them. These people are classified as racist. As diverse as the people on this planet are, there are surprisingly many differences that some do not even know that on that basis decided to discriminate or hate others for it. With all disrespect, despite the many visible differences between many religions, there are many similarities in the way of including law. It is the radical extremists that in many cultures, groups around the world that degrade the name of their faith. We must remember that they are only minority. Diversity is also what brings us together as a people. Through the respect show to one another, we grow and learn of each other. So by learning more about society and the world, it makes us richer and wiser. There's the one unity to diversity. Gideon Mears came up with the amazing, poetry. Impudence spread all around, and understanding can't be found. So be pride and enters our minds. We cannot let the clock rewind. People judge and people hate. There isn't unity in our state. So disrespect seems to be bound and prejudice to be overwhelming sound. We are living together with different minds and sometimes fall to be, oh, we're so kind. We have different values and different beliefs. different attitudes, and ways to please. We are all human to feel pain. We all see the sunrise and pouring rain. So try to understand whatever it takes. So try to understand whatever it takes, because we all fall down and make mistakes. So let's try to love the diversity and include the humanity, because that is the first priority. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. And yes, we are humans, so we have to embrace the humanity. So that was really a great thought coming from you. And it doesn't matter where we live, in which part of the world, and which caste, religion, country, whatever it is, whether you're male or female. But the thing is that we are human and we need to support each and every human living on this planet. So thank you for this wonderful talk. And thank you very much for joining. And now it's time to call upon one more guest of honor from Thailand, Jintana ma'am. Our guest of honor from Thailand. Jintana Harmanam. Are you there, ma'am? I think she's not able to, might be some network issues. So yes, now let's see whenever she joins back, we will be listening to her. So now, because it's Africa Day that we are celebrating, now it's turn to listen to some of our African friends from Idym. So Joshua, sir, are you there? Dr. Joshua has joined, but I think he has also left. Okay. Yes, of course, we have our next speaker from the land of Malawi, Dr. Emmanuel, sir. A great person, a great speaker. Dr. Emmanuel, sir.
Thank you. Welcome, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome, ma'am.
A great educationalist, a very great social worker from Malawi. And we
Thank
just
you.
appreciate his energy. Sometimes we see it's dark over there, but still he speaks with full energy, we can say, and always a very good speaker. Thank you for joining. And
Thank
now
you very
it's
much.
time to listen to you, sir. Please
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Let me start by giving my heartfelt thanks to Idym. Idym is growing every day. And now Idym, I think, is growing so much in Africa. And we feel Idym, it's our mother in Africa, is taking care of us. So our thanks goes to Idym for respecting us as Africans. We have seen there are many organizations, there are many institutions all over the world. They have never sat down and think of celebrating Africa. To us, this is really a great honor to give us this opportunity to celebrate our mother continent, Africa. Thank you very much, Idym, for giving us this opportunity. We are really very grateful for this. I'll start by saying that Africa is one of the continents that has got many opportunities. It has got many opportunities which are followed by many resources. So in Africa, we have got many resources, but still Africa is trailing behind. Why? Because we lack knowledge, we lack skills. Let me also thank India as a country, because India now has become our mother in Africa. Even if a person gets sick, he goes to India. Even the medications that we are using in Africa, most of them are produced in India. And even if you go in many of the towns in Africa, you find Indians are the ones that are operating very big shops. So they are supplying us with a lot of our needs in Africa. Now, Africa depends on India so much nowadays. Looking at Africa, we depend on India in many of our day-to-day life. Now, if we look into education, you find that most of our students are having their education in India. Some are doing it online, some are doing it physically right there in India. And now, as we can see, most of these African students are benefiting a lot from India. Even our doctors are running, they have got their trainings in India. They are getting their trainings from India. So it's quite interesting. And the relationship between Africa and India is so strong, and it is being strengthened by Idym, by having this celebration today. This is one way of strengthening our relationship with India, because India has become our mother, is taking care of us in different worlds. So today, as we are celebrating, we are looking into Africa as a continent, but Africa needs a lot to be developed. Africa needs skills. Africa needs trainings and knowledge to develop. You can see we have got all those resources out there. We have got the water, we have got the land, we have got whatever is needed for a continent to develop. But it's very unfortunate. We have got the resources, the minerals and all those things out there, but we lack knowledge. If you look into all these things that I've mentioned, you'll find that other countries outside Africa, they come and loot out all those resources and leave Africa in poor. We are still in poverty today. Why? Because we are failing to manage the resources that we have. So today, as we are celebrating Africa, it is my appeal to India and other countries to hold our hands. To hold our hands, because we are really in dire need of knowledge, skills, and trainings. Malawi as a country, we are benefiting a lot from India. In Malawi, we have a project whereby all HIV positive people are getting free ARVs. All these ARVs are from India. We appreciate that. We are so grateful of that. Most of the vaccine that we were using during the COVID-19, they were coming from India. That's why today we have got a reason to thank India. That's why today we have got a reason to call India our mother. We are really very grateful, because India is trying every way possible to open our eyes so that we can see the resources that we have, so that we can live a happy life, so that we can be trained in different ways and have our own doctors in Malawi, in Africa. Most of the doctors are trained in India, and those doctors who are trained in India are very good doctors, and they know how to treat, they know how to welcome patients to a particular hospital. So we know that they learn a lot from India. So Africa needs your hand. Africa, we have got many students here who would like to join some colleges in India, but due to lack of resources, due to lack of financial stamina, they are failing to do that. We would like that most of the countries, including India, should come up with online lessons so that our students should learn through those online students in the comfort of their homes. Because we need people who are well educated to develop Africa. If Africans are not well educated, Africa will never be developed at all. We will never. We will still depend on Western countries. Asia and Africa are the two continents who have suffered much recently due to a number of reasons. But now we are saying that Africa and Asia should join hands and work together and then develop themselves. Recently, we have seen that at least Asia has developed, but Africa has got more resources. If we share the resources that we have, if we work together, that means Africa can easily develop in a few years coming. But this will depend on the first step. We have to train. We need to have proper education for our children, so that the next generation should be a well-educated generation. In so doing, they will be able to secure the resources that we have, so that they should not be rooted out of Africa. They will be able to say, okay, Africa as a continent, let's become one country, so that we should be strong. So they will build ties with other countries, such as India and other countries that can help Africa to grow. So today, as we are celebrating Africa, I'm really very happy to see that as a country, as a continent, we are benefiting a lot from Asia. Not just Asia, but more especially from India. We have got Indians everywhere. Where I live in my town, all the shops are owned by the Indians. We are good friends with them. They are so friendly. They are almost Malawians. I think they have spent a lot of years here. They are born here and they are growing old here. Malawi is one of the peaceful countries. That's why we call it the warm heart of Africa. So we accommodate all Indians here. But now we are benefiting a lot from them. We are benefiting a lot from India. Not only Malawi, but almost all the countries in Africa. All the 54 countries in Africa, they're benefiting a lot from India because all the vaccines and the number of medications that we are using here, they are from India. If I get sick today, I need another kidney, then I'll go to India, I'll get it. Most of our leaders, they go to India to get another kidney when the kidney has failed to function. So you can see that India has become our mother who is taking care of every need that we have. So let's join hands. Let's all Africans work together. We are not a poor country. We have got the resources. We have got everything that takes a continent to develop. But we need to work hard day and night. We need to wake up from the slumber. We need to start thinking out of the box. We need to open our eyes and see the resources that are readily available and utilize them properly so that they can develop us. We have got the land. We have got the fresh waters. We have got everything in Africa that can develop us. And if you look into Africa, we grow a lot of crops and we feed the whole world. We feed the whole world. If we talk of minerals, we have got countries that have got more minerals, such as Botswana, South Africa, Democratic Republic of Congo, and many other countries, just to mention a few. So all these minerals are not utilized by Africans. They're taken out of Africa. We don't benefit from them. I understand. I can give you I can give you an example that Malawi had uranium. And what happened is a certain company came to Malawi and start working on the uranium. What they said is that, okay, all these are samples. Many trucks, many tons of uranium were all samples. They were taken out of Malawi as the samples. Unfortunately, we realized very late that all the uranium has gone in the name of samples. So this is what has been happening. So we are saying that in Africa, we have to work up. We have to work up. We need to secure our resources in order for us to grow. They call us poor. Why? Because they have rooted out all the resources. We are not poor. We are not. But we need education. So India, please, IDYM, please, I've knelt down. Help us, educate us. Make sure our children have got good and quality education so that in the next generation, all these things will never happen. If we are well educated, we cannot lose our resources. We will be able to secure our resources. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm very thankful and grateful for IDYM. You are the only organization that has considered us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Idym. Thank you, IDYM. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emmanuel, for the great talk. And as you said, Youth Africa has a lot of resources, but what is needed is you need support, especially for improving the education system in Africa. And yes, of course, as you were saying, IDYM is a great platform. It is a team of so many educators, and we educators are always there to help. And like you talked about yes, online education. So that can anytime it can be done. So it's the time that we all the educators come together and just support each other and contribute to make Africa and improve the education system in Africa. So thank you very much, sir, for joining with us and sharing your views with us. And I would like to call upon our next speaker, Dr. Oliver Jr. from Botswana. Dr. Oliver? Dr. Oliver, are you there? I think he's not able to listen. And do we have Professor Ravinder Raina from Africa? Professor Ravinder, you are there with us?
Yes, Dr. Anjum, and I'm around.
Yes, yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Well, colleagues, good evening, and probably from different parts of Africa and also from India and other countries. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to be part of this IDYM series, and I'm glad that Raviji could think about not only India, but beyond India, particularly African continent. We need Africa actually more than any other continent in the world, whether it is India or China or any other country for that matter, or any other continent for that matter. Africa is needed, demanded everywhere. So I was listening to some of the colleagues from Africa and non-African colleagues who have never been to Africa before. I'd like to share some of my experiences, my knowledge, because I'm the scholar of Africa, living in African continent for more than 25 years of my professional life. So probably I know Africa better than our African brothers and sisters, I should say that. Well, the point of the matter that the topic that we choose today is strength in diversity. And this is an important forum that we connected with our African continent, celebrating Africa Day as you know today. Indeed, I would like to mention some of the important points here. The Africa Day is being celebrated in African continent on 25th of May, actually. So we already celebrated that about a few days ago, 5 days ago, in fact. And why do we celebrate 25th of May as Africa Day? Because of the fact that when African countries, they began to gain independence starting from 1951. So we have countries like Libya, we have Morocco, we have Tunisia, we have Ghana. During 1951 to 1956 and 57. So those are the years these countries, they begin to get their independence. Now, of course, when Mahatma Gandhi also fought for Indian independence, and when we got independence in 1947, and after independence of India, and African brothers and African leaders also, they motivated that if India get liberated, that is the end of the colonial masters of in Africa and the rest elsewhere in the world. So that is when India also became a motivational factor for Africa's independence. So why I'm saying this as a background here is that so in 1947 and 1951, Libya, and maybe 56, we have Tunisia, Morocco, and maybe 1957, Ghana, and so on. So thereafter, there are many countries, even Botswana got, and many countries in Africa got independence in 1960s. So 32 countries in African continent, ladies and gentlemen, that they got independence and they wanted to unite. They wanted to work together and they wanted to feel that they are part of one continent and one organization. So Organization of African Unity, that is AOU, that is the organization that they have started, Organization of African Unity, Union, and that was started on 25th of May, 1963, so exactly 60 years ago. And now the numbers increased to 54. So we got 54 countries in African continent. And that is why we celebrate, there are countries like Namibia, where I was working there as a professor for some time back, and there are a few other countries in African continent. They gave a public holiday on the day of 25th of May every year. So they respect that. Of course, in South Africa, where I'm currently working, we don't have that leverage, but we respect that and we mark as a Africa Day. So this is the background why we celebrate Africa. And fundamentally, what is the purpose of marking this 25th as a Africa Day? Because we wanted to be in African continent, we wanted to protect the democracy. We wanted to also protect the diversity, and we wanted to achieve the economic growth and economic development in the continent. And by also addressing some of the social, economical inequalities and maybe the different other challenges, socioeconomic challenges in the continent. Now, if we look at the African history, particularly for the past 60 years down the line, interestingly, we're gaining strength in diversity because we are diverse people. We got more than 3,000 ethnic groups in the continent, actually. So that is more than double the size of the ethnic groups of India. Now we got more than 2,000 languages in the continent. And that is also fundamentally about 1,600 languages India has got. Many of them are dialects. So India as a country, Africa as a continent, we got a lot of similarities. We may have a lot of disparities also. But nonetheless, the similarities I would like to share with you that our population is the largest in the world. We got 1.42 billion people. And by and large, in Africa as a continent, all the 54 countries together, we also got about 1.4 billion people. When we look at the national, the income of the India is about 2.9 to nearly $3 trillion. That is our income right now. And we contribute probably about 3% to the total income of the world. And Africa is the continent, also we have the same, maybe about 2.7, $2.8 trillion. That's what we contribute as a continent. So we do have a lot of similarity. I would like to also share with you, there is so much to talk about Africa because always Africa is close to my heart. And I was living even in the war zones. I worked in Ethiopia and Eritrea, where the bombers, where the fighter jets were bombing the flights, dropping the bombs. I have seen with my own eyes. I witnessed that. I worked for more than 2.5 years in the war zone, actually, as one of the teaching faculty members or professor in Eritrea and Ethiopia those days. That was more than 15, 20 years ago. So there is so much to talk, but in the interest of time, I know there are other speakers that are also waiting. I would like to mention to you that our brother from Malawi, where I've been to University of Malawi some time back, and I was in Lilongwe and I also in Blantyre and things like that. So he was sharing that the role of India for the African countries and how, particularly in terms of the medical facilities, medical support, and so on and so forth. So I'd like to share with you here that Africa is the only continent in the world, though the people of other continents, including Indians, they see Africa as a backward continent, as a poor continent, as a people with a lot of diseases, a lot of problems, a lot of conflicts, a lot of fights. So that's how Africa means they see as a negativity. They don't see Europe means it's a positivity. Australia means positivity. America means positivity. That's what we have seen. Even while I was a child studying grade 7 social sciences in India, that I studied Africa as a black continent or a dark continent. So that's what I always remember that. But when I come to Africa, it's a different world actually on its own. So let me tell you that what I found, what probably through my literature studies and my readings, provide me that information is that Africa is the only continent. It has got 75% of the total platinum deposits of the world. Africa is the only continent which has got about 58% of the diamond deposits of the world. And Africa is the only continent in the world, it has got more than 56% of the gold deposits of the world. So I'm not talking about the petrol, I'm not talking about copper, I'm not talking about uranium. For instance, Namibia is the country which has got top 5 countries in the world which has got the uranium deposits. So there's so much to offer from African continent. But unfortunately, even DRC Congo, where some of our brothers must be also sitting here, that DRC Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, it is one of the biggest countries, maybe top 10 or countries in the continent, though Democratic Republic of Congo is considered to be one of the poorest countries, where 80% of the people living below poverty line. The truth of the matter is that DRC Congo has got more than $25 trillion worth of natural resources. That is equal to the size of the American economy. If we look at the national income contribution per annum, America contributes less than 25 trillions for the global economy, actually. Whereas DRC Congo alone possesses that much amount of resources. So although DRC Congo is involved in a lot of conflicts, a lot of problems, a lot of wars, sometimes I do talk to some of the people I know in Congo. So this is what is happening. So though Africa is a rich continent, actually, by any definition, by any standard, Africa is the second largest continent in the world, where Asia is about 46 million square kilometers, whereas Africa is about 30.3 million square kilometers land. So imagine that Africa is the second biggest continent. Even if you look at the world map, they wrongly projected African continent size. That if you look at Asian size, and if you look at African size, they wrongly portrayed, even in the geographic channel or everywhere, they wrongly portrayed the African picture, actually. Africa can look much bigger than what it is looking in the world map today. So this is what is Africa for you. And now the people of Africa is welcoming with their heart. That is the richness, actually. That is a symbol of richness. When you go, when I've been to 42 countries in the world for more than 2.5 decades. I went to Europe, I went to America, I went to Latin America and many other countries. When you go to those countries, including some of our Asian countries, we do not see that welcoming nature. But most part of African people, they welcome the guest. Of course, in Indian philosophy, we say Atithi Devo Bhava, meaning that the guest is like a god for us. So they also see in African continent, guest is like a god for them. So they respect them. That is why when the colonial masters came to African continent 300 years ago, they welcomed them. They tried to learn their religion. They tried to practice their religion. They tried to practice their dress code. They also learn about their food and culture. And when it comes to the technology, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, our African brothers, they rejected. They didn't learn the technology. So that is why in Africa, we remain backward in terms of science, technology, innovation aspects. Whereas the same colonial masters like Britishers and French people and Portuguese people, they also come and occupy Indian part. So when Indians did not learn the culture of these Western European countries, actually. We stick to our cultures firmly. We practice whatever religions what we are practicing before. But we also try to protect our food habits. Most of our people in India, they eat rice and then the chapati and things like that. So we didn't dilute our culture. We didn't try to follow them in terms of the culture, but we learned the technology. We also try to learn, and we have advanced in terms of technology more than the Britishers today, ladies and gentlemen. That is why our technocrats, whether they are computer scientists or maybe they are any other scientists, they're always all over there in the world. They're contributing immensely to the science, technology, innovations of this world, actually. So that is the difference. Now, Africa, if they could have followed the technological aspects without following those cultural aspects. If you speak the language, probably Nigerian brothers or some of the African brothers like maybe Kenyans and Ugandans, they may speak better English than Indians. English doesn't make any difference. English is only just language of communication. But if somebody who speaks 10 or 20 languages, did they invent anything? Did they discover anything? Did they contribute, with a solid foundation to the science, technology, innovation area? But if you look at that, language is only a linguist. He knows language, he knows better pronunciation and accent, doesn't make him to be a greater or probably a scientist. So what I'm trying to tell you is that, ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, I'd like to conclude in another 2 minutes time, that Africa has got a lot to offer. But when it comes to the unity is always strength for us, as our topic says, unity in diversity. So instead of trying to unite ourselves, there are a lot of people from Europe, they live here. There are a lot of people from other Asian continental countries, including Indians, they live all over our African continent. But we are all Africans now. When we are in Africa, we are one people with one heart, with one mind, with one soul. That is the kind of spirit we need to develop. But in general, what is happening is that we among African brothers, we do not have unity among ourselves. We don't like each other. We always hate than we like. And we try to fight among ourselves. We look for the power and the money and the resources more than anything else. That's why if you look at the total conflicts and coup attempts that have been done in the whole world, ladies and gentlemen, there are 486 coup attempts that have been made in all the continents of the world. In Africa alone, 214 coup attempts were made for the past maybe 50 years or so. So out of those 214 coup attempts to get the power, and then 106 coup attempts are successful, and the remaining were in failure. Maybe 108 or so they are failed. So there are a lot of coup attempts that have been taken place. There are a lot of African leaders that have been murdered and assassinated. And then when it comes to the trade and cooperation and that kind of agreement, economic cooperation agreements, we do have COMESA, we do have IGAD, Intergovernmental Administration for Development. We got ECOWAS. We also got SADC. We got so many other smaller regional cooperation agreements. But when it comes to the cooperation, we are not cooperating with each other the way we're supposed to, because we don't trust. Instead of selling some goods to our own African brothers, we rather look for somebody in Middle East, we rather look for somebody in Europe, we rather look for somebody in Australia and New Zealand. So this is what is happening. Now, this is not correct. We have the Africa Free Trade Continental Agreement, which was a new organization started about 2 years ago, 1st of January 2021, except Eritrea, where I was working for more than a decade. Remaining 53 countries, they signed that agreement. They wanted to promote the economic cooperation. They wanted to promote the trade among the African countries. The trade among the Africa is very little, whereas trade from Africa to other parts of the world is so high. So ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, we need to probably talk in another forum where I get a chance to talk about. But yes, so this is what is happening. The conflicts are taking place and the diseases are taking place. Technologically, if you look at the economic growth of Africa, we used to have average 3% economic growth in the whole of continent. And particularly in 2000 to 2022, we have 5% economic growth rate. But that has been coming down because of so many challenges that we are facing with the West European countries. Because West European countries, they are trying to pretend as if they are giving some loans and kind of financial assistance, but unfortunately, it's not reaching to the poor man. At the last, I would like to give you one important point that there was a research report that was carried out from 1976 to 1996, about 20 years period. The research study says that Africa receives financial assistance from the Western countries for about $370 billion. And out of those $370 billion that they received, only 30 cents are being reached these downtrodden, the poor people. The remaining 70 cents are taken back by these Western European countries in the name of consultants that they sent, in the name of different other things, they took it back. So therefore, there is no development, there is no growth actually that has taken place in the African continent. Unfortunately, we Africans must unite among ourselves. Unity in diversity is always prevails. So when we unite, then we will gain the strength. If we divide, we always become weak. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we need to unite, and with that unity, we can fight against our enemies, we can utilize our resources, and we can try to educate our people, and we can try to prosper African continent, because Africa is the future of the world. So with these few words, I would like to thank our brother Ravi Shankar and Dr. Anjum, the moderator, and also Dinul, and all our colleagues from IDYM for bringing me onto this platform. Anjum, she never introduced me. I'm the IDYM country director of South Africa, also professor of economics and finance with 31 years of experience. And if somebody wants to know more about me, they can Google about me. So thank you very much with this few.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for the wonderful talk. It was really an inspiring one. And as you started with, yes, Africa is a land of rich resources. And it's a time that everyone should come together and everyone should work for Africa. And as he was talking, yes, of course, unity it gives strength. And that is the theme of our conference today, strength in diversity. So thank you very much for, sir, for joining with us and sharing such an inspiring topic.
Thank you.
And with this, I would like to call upon our next speaker, Dr. Oliver from Botswana. Dr. Oliver, are you there? Dr. Oliver? Are you able to hear me? I think he has again lost connection because he was messaging that. Again, so let's move on to the next speaker. We have Dr. Idym-African from Nigeria. I would like to invite her for a talk on this in this conference.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Angel, for inviting me to this event. I won't be able to turn on my camera. but I will still do my presentation. Today is Africa Day, and we are celebrating our continent, Africa, which is a great continent. So I will quickly be talking about some of the challenges we face as a country. The African continent is the second largest continent in the world with a population of over 1.3 billion people. It is a home to a diverse range of cultures and languages, as well as the wealth of natural resources, including oil, gas, minerals, agriculture, and so on. But despite its many strengths, however, the African continent faces a number of challenges that have hindered its development and progress over the years. And one of the challenges, one of the most pressing of them, is poverty. According to World Bank, more than 40% of the population in sub-Saharan Africa lives in extreme poverty, which is defined as living on less than $1 per day. And this is one of the major challenges we are having as a continent. Another major challenge we are facing is political instability. In a lot of African countries, you find out that there are so many issues, a lot of political instability, a lot of ethnic tribalism, and a whole lot going on. So these are some of the challenges we are facing as a continent. But irrespective of all the challenges, we have amazing African youths. We have youths that are talented, youths that are gifted, youths that are creative, youths that have vision. So despite all these things, we still have hope and optimism in Africa. Many countries have made significant progress in recent years in terms of economic growth, political stability, and social development. There is also a growing movement of illustrious men and women who are committed to rewriting the African story. They are ready to change the narrative and put Africa on the spotlight. That is what I represent. I am African, and I'm ready to play my role. I'm ready to play my own quota in ensuring that the lives of African youths are transformed. And I want to also use this opportunity to beckon on other African countries, other individuals from different African countries to do same. When we join forces together, when we put hands together to ensure that this continent moves forward, we will surely experience a lot of progress. Thank you very much. I just had to quickly say this because I'm actually in the hospital. Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining. If you're busy, that oh, you are not well, I think. Oh, that's great. That you're not well, but still, you took out time for us, and not because it is Africa Day, but still, and it's like you're ill, you are ill, and you're not having good health, but you still took out the time for joining with us and sharing your views with us. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for the
and get
opportunity.
well soon. Get well soon. And yeah, I can see people sending wishes for your speedy recovery. And yes, of course, you will recover very soon. Thank you, it's your Malister, ma'am. And now I would like to invite another speaker, Dr. Monique Lynch from Jamaica. Dr. Monique, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you. I did send my apologies in the chat as I won't be able to share my camera. But thank you so much for the invitation. It is indeed an honor to present. I'm seeing familiar faces. Hello, Dr. Emmanuel. It is nice to be here. So the first question that I would like to pose to you all is, do we want countries and regions of all the same people? Or do we want countries forging people together who will add thoughts, ideas, experiences, and perspectives that will result in sustainable development? Now, although Africa comprises of 54 countries, each with their unique challenges, opportunities, and resources, many African countries' economies are crumbling in the post-pandemic era, which leaves the region undeveloped in so many sectors. Now, there was a study done by April and Stockley in 2007 that stated that among other continents, Africa is struggling to transform itself in the competitive world against socio-national institutional demands. And in this reshaping of economies, it becomes imperative that the issue of regional identities be revisited to spur development in Africa. Now, I believe the role of Africa as one that acknowledges the true potential of people, the strength of diversity is in their multiculturalism. Now, the region needs to focus on diversity and devise ways to become totally inclusive entities, since diversity has the potential of yielding greater productivity and competitive advantages. Now, valuing and managing diversity is a key constituent of effective people management, which can improve the growth and development of the region. So what does this mean for Africa? Now, changing the narrative begins with evolving the different sectors and industries that shape them. If we adopt ways of doing things, we stand a much better chance at a brighter future. To achieve this, we need to encourage and make diversity and inclusion in Africa mandatory. This means that we need to start at the grassroots level and educate African children about the vast opportunities that exist in and around their countries in Africa. Now, what are some of the recommendations? Number one, start small and start now. Big changes start from tiny steps. And we can change the way the world works by starting with educating young people on the existing and possible opportunities available for them. It is very important to let children know that their dreams are valid and that their aspirations are not limited to their surroundings, and that there are many opportunities within Africa and also beyond for them. We need to create more opportunities through promoting business development skills, STEM skills, and encouraging digital literacy to be a part of the everyday existing education systems in Africa. We gain more by training children while they are young about the possible technologies and machinery that fit well into this ever-evolving digital world. Number two, ongoing support. One of the greatest flaws with trying to develop different sectors is the idea that we should only offer help and support once, and that would be enough. A lot of African countries are people need to be given support and opportunities that exist every single day so that they have access to that sort of growth just at their fingertips. Now, this means that we create programs such as teaching young African girls to code and encouraging young African boys to not drop out of schools so we stand a better chance at a bright future. The existing hindrances such as period poverty, young boys being attempted to join gangs, young women being conditioned to domestication only, and more should not hold us back from making the future of Africa better. Now, while battles exist with these things, it is paramount to always remember the end goal: equality, equity, and diversity in all sectors. Number 3, African roots, global connections. With Africa being rich in cultures and traditions, it is always important to preserve the history and the lessons. This means inclusivity in all the educational offerings that we have. While we teach African children about the many global opportunities and education, we also have to educate them about the importance of African traditions and history. This way, they are aware of what still needs to be done in order to develop sectors and industries, bridge gender and race gaps, as well as grow our economy. Plus, we will be better educated and connected globally with those who are interested in investing in African talent and skills. So while we want the access to the best careers they are, we also have to remember our roots and work on watering them more. In conclusion, Africa has a long way to go, but is a journey worth taking together as a region. Diversity throughout developing sectors can be achieved. In fact, it has already been started, and now the aim is to maintain the momentum and increase it to ensure that more and more Africans gain access to life-changing opportunities and better themselves and their surroundings. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. That was really a great talk. And yes, as you were talking about equality, equity, and preserving the history of Africa and teaching the children about the importance of Africa, importance of its traditions, so that they know what all has happened and what has to be done. So that was really a great talk. And thank you for joining with us. And thank you for sharing your wonderful views with us. And yes, this is a conference where we are trying to celebrate the Africa Day, as we said, and our theme today is strength and diversity. And I can see all of you, all the speakers, you all are so wonderful, and you are like coming up with so amazing points. And yes, one unique thing that I have been finding is everyone, yes, you are focusing so much on education and adopting the technology. Yes, that is very essential. Because if you want to be compatible with the today's digital world, yes, education, technology, this has to be used for everything. So thank you very much, Ram, once again for joining and sharing your thoughts with us. And now I take this opportunity to invite, yes, our dear sister from Egypt, Ambassador Dr. Iman Alam. Dr. Iman. Oh, I think.
Hello, my dear sister.
Yes, I was talking to you.
I'm
Yes.
so sorry. I'm trying to unmute myself. Thank you. Me. I am very happy to be with you today at our lovely sister continent. It's Asia. We are here celebrating African Day. However, we are online in India. Thanks a lot for considering us, and thanks for remembering us. Thanks, Dr. Anjum, for moderating and hosting the day. Thanks, Ravijay, for in connecting all of us today. Thanks for all guest speakers and all the speakers before me. Let's talk about Africa. I try to conclude because I know you started from many hours, so too much information. So I need to touch some important files and some important topics. Each one of them needs alone separately one conference. I'm so sorry for not opening my camera because today I am not in a good health, but I can't really, I can't leave such a great conference. So I must be with you today. For this reason, I'm so sorry for not opening my camera. Let's start. Today we will talk together about Africa and the strengths in diversity. We need to open some important files, including scientists' migration from Africa. We have human resources power. We have highly intelligent people in Africa, but many of them are migrating to many other countries. For example, here in Egypt, we have many Egyptian scientists in Europe and in other countries. Regarding education in Africa, education is good in many places, not bad as you can imagine, but it's very good in many places, but needs more improvement to be better. Infrastructure is very important to be improved in some countries. Many important countries and many important scientists have some problems to be online with us because of low infrastructure. So Africa needs to establish better infrastructure to support online education and being online without any disconnection. And the most important file, neglected tropical diseases. How come? However, African countries have savanna and herbal plants. They are exporting these plants as a source of drugs. However, some people inside the same country may be sick and infected by such neglected tropical diseases. So we need to focus on savanna and herbal plants to produce drugs. I think it's something like national security inside each country. You need to produce your drug depending on yourself. Let's say hats off to India. When I visited India during COVID, I'm very happy because they tried to reduce their vaccines against COVID-19. I'm very happy and I'm very proud when I heard that from them. Also, we need to focus on the issue of application of biotechnology in Africa. And let's talk about human and natural resources and biodiversity. Africa contains different people, huge amount of people with different language, great diversity. We need to do multilingualistic conferences. We need to understand each other. We need to accept each other, regardless of religion, regardless of many differences, but we are human beings. We are in nearly very, very closer localities. So we are very near to us. I need to say hats off to all colleagues. Those are turning on a candle to hear us, to listen such conference. I need to say we need more and better infrastructure in African countries. Not all countries are equal. Some of them can't deliver such lecture because of no light, no electricity. I'm so sorry to say that, but this is the truth. However, they have many, many great scientists with brilliant mind. I visited Nigeria. I visited ABU. It's one of the most important universities in Africa. Africa is not bad as you can imagine, but Africa, as like is any other place, need more improvement. We need to improve ourselves internally, because when we are improving ourselves internally, it means that we will use our resources. So we need to improve ourselves. We need to improve our education. We need to improve our infrastructure. It's very important. How can you can't deliver a lecture because of no light or no electricity? Some of them are with us with candles. Hats off to all of them, I appreciate. But why? We are not poor to reach to that level. So I think we need to talk about corruption, talk about fair distribution of wealth, fair distribution of natural resources. I'm not a person those are working in social sciences or human rights, but as a scientist, we need to deliver our lectures in a very peaceful way. So let's highlight the issue of infrastructure all over Africa. And also, let's highlight the issue of neglected tropical diseases of Africa, however of savanna, however of many advanced labs. But still on land, some countries are facing the issue of malaria, the issue of typhoid. One day I visited Nigeria and I was a victim of malaria and typhoid. It's very dangerous diseases. But on paper, on reports, no malaria, zero malaria. It's not zero malaria. To be honest, I tried such a disease. It's very, very painful because I am Egyptian, so we don't have these diseases. But let's say hats off to Africa and the African people because they are struggling with some limited resources. So sorry to say, corruption in some places, low infrastructure, but they are trying to do. So please, please, please don't move to the comfort zone, and please stay in your countries, stay in your continent, and try to improve it. Try to be change maker. Try to be edu leader. We have many edu leaders from Africa. And I wanted to say one message. You are not black. You are carrying a very white heart. We are not classified by color. Some of them are migrating to other countries and they are not dealing with good manner. Am I right or not? Some of them are suffering in other countries because of color. They are dealing with them as people in the second rank. We are not in the second rank. All of us are equal, regardless of color, religion, and any differences. All of us are human beings. Our value is detected by our values, but being givers. But what can you do for others? Maybe you are sick, or maybe I saw many of us are not in a good health, but we are trying to deliver our lectures. For example, I'm saying to myself, even I'll have only one press, I'll end it in science and the distribution of science. So again and again, let's say we need edu leaders, we need to change our continent, we need to be change maker. We need also to human resources. It's very important to use them. It's not overcrowded area. It's a human resources. We need to use them. And also regarding sustainable development goals and Africa, we need to take it in consideration. Sustainable development goals, not on papers, on land. We need to also take care of climate changes. Really, Africa is deserving more attention from Africans to improve it more and more and to use their good resources in a very good way. Thanks a lot. And finally, also try to be change maker. However, you are using a candle this day, but you are the candle. I'm sending my message to all those are with us, lightening on one candle. You are the candle itself. For example, Dr. Oliver and many others, they are struggling with light, but I'm sending a message to all of you. You are the light itself. So continue and go ahead. Hats off to all of you. I appreciate you too much. Thanks for our lovely sister, Asia. Thanks for India. And I am Afro-Asian person, so I love India, and thanks for IDYM for inviting us to be with them today. Thanks for remembering Africa and African countries. I'm very happy to be today to represent my country, Egypt. Many things here in Egypt, alhamdulillah, are all right, but it's not only Egypt. I'll be more satisfied if I'll see all the world around me is in a good status, because it's not Egypt, it's our land. Because any problem will be in one part of our land will affect all of us, especially something like COVID-19. COVID-19 sent a message to us. One small virus, very, very tiny organism, spread all over the world within few months. We can't do anything. I think COVID-19 sent to us different negative messages and also positive messages, like we can be online together. Today we are online from our homes. Today we can deliver our lectures, we can deliver our messages and our words. So don't keep your voice in your mouth. Try to talk, try to solve your problems, try to be change maker. Don't escape. If I'll escape from my country because I'm not feeling comfortable, who will make it better? It's our responsibility to change. And finally, if you are with us using a candle, it means that you are the candle. Thanks a lot. And I'm very happy to be with you today. Thanks, Dr. Anjum. Thanks, Prof. Dr. Rajput Sir, and all respected guest speakers and all speakers before and after me. Thanks, Ravi Jai, for inviting me. And thanks, IDYM and Jai Hind, because you remembered us. So we must say Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And we are also happy and fortunate enough to have you amongst us in the celebration of the African Day. And yes, as you say, we need to be change makers. Those are like, okay, we talked about lack of infrastructure facilities and lack of other technicalities and sometimes lack of education and all. But what this requires is we should remember that we are humans and we need to support each other to make this world a better place to live in, to make this world a beautiful place where everyone will be living in harmony. So that was a great thought coming from you. So it was so nice listening to you. Thank you very much, dear sister, for joining with us and sharing your views on the celebration of Africa Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now it's time to invite the next guest speaker, Ambassador Dennis Yorme from Liberia. Ambassador Dennis, are you there? I can see him.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever dimension you are from. I'm Ambassador Dennis Yorme from Liberia, and I serve as the Executive Director of Otif Teachers Training Institute. It is an online institution that helps emerging educators to actually develop their career-driven goals. Thanks to all of the speakers, and most especially to our organizer, Dr. Aju, for this beautiful platform where Africans and non-Africans could gather together and discuss the betterment of Africa on this beautiful day. Indeed, it's an honor to serve as one of the speakers. All right. Africa is a beautiful continent that I have lived on for the past 30, 35 years. Africa is a beautiful continent, it is a loving continent. But then Africa is also very rich in all of the natural resources. But with all the riches in the natural resources that Africa has, Africa is the only continent that produces coal, timber, and other natural resources, but they don't refine them within their environment. Once these natural resources has been extinct out of the ground, we normally take them out of Africa to refine them. And once they are refined to our continent Africa, they are sold to us for a very high tax that is unaffordable for us as Africans to afford. Africa is also a beautiful continent that today we pin down a very brilliant and important information, that is example of the African Agenda 2063 and that of the Sustainable Goal Development. These documents have been penned down that Africans must live on and be able to live a sustainable life and a very enjoyable life. But today, all of these documents were penned down, they are not properly implemented into our system. So you find out today that Africa will actually deviate from the path of unity. We have actually deviated from the path of unity because I remember one of the agendas or the aspiration of the African agenda talks about a unity, a sustainable unitary or system that all governments should have all countries should have a one system of government. But today, we don't see that any longer. The document is pinned down, but we are not implementing it. So thanks to Dr. Aju again for this platform she has given to me. Indeed, Africa is very rich in all of the natural resources. But if we look at Africa, youth are going astray. Youth are not able to afford even the $1 that was passed into the law that youth should afford per day. You find out that some students will actually go to school with empty stomach, and at the end of the day, you observe that that student will not be able to learn anything for which they have gone to achieve because of how they have appeared on that school campus. But we as Africans, we are fighting and we are trying in our own weak way to carry on awareness on all social medias in all of our African countries to actually acknowledge and educate our fellow Africans to how best we can improve our African society. And it cannot only be done through this unity. It will only be done when Africa or when Africans are united. So for this topic, it is a very brilliant topic. We as Africans need to be united in order to implement this Sustainable Goals Development, the SDG, and that of the African Agenda 2063. Without unity, Africa will not be able to reach to where it is. Africa will not be able to get to a point where we will have a better continent to live in. So we all must hold on together. We must come together as a continent to better fight the environment, to better fight the ills within the society. Thanks so much to Dr. Andrew for the opportunity, and thanks to all of the speakers again. Because of time, it is getting late and the speakers are so many, I will not be able to speak more. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis, for joining with us, and you brought up talk about some of the problems in Africa. Yes, that as the author said, Africa is rich in natural resources. So this is a need that we try to develop, we try to use those resources, and also like if we support each other, surely we will be achieving whatever we want in life. So that was really a great talk. And now I would like to invite our next speaker, our sister from Zimbabwe, who has been waiting for so long, Dr. Patricia Gonde from Zimbabwe. Patricia, now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anjum, for giving me this opportunity. I would like also to acknowledge IDYM for availing this platform to us so that we can learn and relearn together as a united front despite our geographical boundaries. Greetings to all people who are here, our fellow Africans. A special welcome to all those joining us from around the world where we are celebrating Africa Day, which we officially celebrated on the 25th of May. So as we celebrate our continent's rich diversity, it is an honor to address you as a proud African woman from Zimbabwe. And I'm quite happy that our theme is strength in diversity. And it is truly befitting for Africa because I'm going to dwell much on cultural diversity in Africa. So many speakers have talked about the challenges that we are facing in Africa. But I am going to look at Africa, the good things about Africa that transcends geographical boundaries. And first of all, foremost, the rich cultural diversity that have been discussed. And as we all know that Africa is a home to over 1.3 billion. And as Professor Ravinda said, with more than 2,000 languages spoken. This cultural diversity for us, Africa, is a source of strength, creativity, and inspiration. Another positive aspect of Africa is its natural beauty. From the savannas of the Serengeti to the mountains of the Atlas Range, from the beaches of the Zanzibar, from the rainforests of the Congo Basin, Africa is blessed with a breathtaking array of landscapes and ecosystems. This natural beauty is not only a source of awe and wonder, but also a vital resource for our economies and our communities. I know that most of the speakers talked about, yes, we have so many resources in Africa. For example, my country right now has got problems, especially with the gold mafia. Yes, we've got gold here in Zimbabwe, we had diamonds. But what is happening is because of mismanagement of resources. There's a lot of corruption that's happening. People coming from everywhere across the globe into our countries. So that is a problem that needs to be addressed right from the top. Moving on about Africa. Africa is a continent of tremendous potential with a young growing population, as we have got our youths here today, abundant natural resources, and it also has got some countries rapidly expanding economies. Think of Rwanda, think of South Africa. It is poised to become a major player on the global stage if our resources are managed very well. So Africa as an African woman, I have seen when we come together, when we are factors to take the challenges that we are all talking about, whether it is there's war in Sudan, disease. Right now, my country is struggling with cholera, conflict, brain drain. We know that most of South Africa, Professor Ravinda, you can agree with me, most Zimbabweans are there, most of them are there. We've got Malawians, but we are helping each other. So whether it is poverty, Africans have got resilience to overcome even the most daunting obstacles. Our diversity, let me say, is not just a source of strength, in times of crisis, it is also a source of inspiration and beauty. Despite the riches and beauty of our diversity, we must also acknowledge the challenges that come with it. And our differences can sometimes lead to misunderstanding, sometimes lead to conflict. Right now, we have got civil wars happening. Different people from the same country fighting each other, and even violence. Talking of my country, 30 August, we are going for elections, but we know that there will be a lot of violence taking place. So what must we do? We must work tirelessly to overcome these challenges, to build bridges between our cultures, and to promote some mutual understanding and respect. Just as a rainbow is made up of many different colors, our cultural diversity is made up of many different traditions, beliefs, and customs. And just as a rainbow is a symbol of beauty and hope, our cultural diversity is a source of strength and resilience and inspiration. And just as each color in a rainbow contributes to its overall beauty and uniqueness, each culture in our diverse continent contributes to the richness and beauty of our shared heritage. So let us just celebrate our diversity as a rainbow of cultures, and let us work together as Africans to love each other, to respect each other, to build a brighter and more inclusive future for all our Africans. Gone are the days, I know that during there was wars happening, and we used to have Malawians coming into Zimbabwe, Zambians coming into Zimbabwe, but now it is being looked upon as if someone goes to another country is a pest, but we are in one country. So I'm saying this for myself. I'm proud of my culture, I'm proud of my heritage, but I also recognize that my culture is just one small, rich tapestry of African diversity. So let's embrace our differences. Let's celebrate our similarities and work together to build a brighter future for all our Africans. As Africans as well, we must recognize the importance of cultural diversity, not only in our continent, but also in the world at large. I know that in today's globalized world, there's so much brain drain happening. Our children are exposed to a wide range of cultures, often throughout the media, throughout the internet. While this can be enriching and educational, it can also lead to confusion and a loss of cultural identity. In Zimbabwe, for example, I've seen our young people struggling to reconcile their traditional customs, their traditional beliefs with the fast-paced, globalized world around them. So what do? Some are even tempted to abandon their cultural heritage altogether in favor of more modern and westernized lifestyles. But this is not the answer. Our cultural diversity is one of our greatest strengths as Africans, and we must do everything we can to preserve and promote it. We must teach our children to be proud of their cultural heritage, to learn about their ancestors, to celebrate their traditions. And at the same time, we must, as parents, help our children to navigate the complex, rapidly changing world around them. We must teach them to be open-minded, to be tolerant, to respect our cultures and beliefs, and to appreciate the many different ways that people around the world live their lives. And the key to preserving our cultural diversity is education. I'm an educationist, and we must invest in our schools and universities to ensure that our young people have access to high quality education that teaches them both about their own culture and other cultures. In conclusion, As we celebrate Africa today, on the theme of strength in diversity, let us remember the importance of cultural diversity. Let us remember in our communities and in the world at large, and let us teach our children to be proud of their cultural heritage, while also embracing the many different cultures that make our world such a rich, fascinating place. So to end up, I would like just to recite a poem about Africa, my motherland, a land of many tongues and tribes, a tapestry of cultures, a rainbow continent, vibrant and alive. From the shores of the Niles, from the savannah of the Serengeti, from the peaks of Kilimanjaro to the deltas of the Niger and Congo. We are a people of many faces, but we share a common bond, a love for our land and our people, a reverence for our stories and our ancestors. Our cultural diversity is a source of strength, a testament to the beauty of our unity. For in our difference, we find common ground, and in our tradition, we find a shade of identity. Oh, Africa, my motherland, may your colors never fade. May your people continue to thrive and your cultures never be betrayed. For we are a rainbow continent, a tapestry of cultures bright, and in the diversity of our people, we find strength to shine our light. Thank you so much, IDYM. I thought I could share the good points about Africa. So let's continue to work together to create a more just, peaceful, and prosperous Africans. Let's love each other, Africans. Let's love each other. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really a great talk. And yes, let's support each other. Let's love each other. That's really a great talk, I can say. And as we were talking, yes, we need to know our culture and we need to teach this culture, the diverse culture, especially the Africa is having. We need to convey all this about the diverse culture of Africa to the coming generations. So thank you very much. And thank you for sharing your wonderful views, a wonderful talk with us. And thanks for, I know you are there online for last more than 2 hours. You are there and almost, I think you reached home till it was your turn. So thank you for being with us for such a long time. And yes, thank you very much. And let me see who all are left now. Yeah, I think according to the list, we have reached to the last speaker, but anything else? Dr. Oliver, are you there? Dr. Oliver or Zintana from Thailand? I think Francis is there. He has joined again.
Okay. Yeah, Francis is here.
Yeah, okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you for the opportunity, and I thank you all for working hard to bring together this conversation. My name is Francis Opaitete from Ghana, and the topic for discussion is so superb, because there's nothing so important to us in Africa as our diversity and how we derive strength from that kind of diversity we have. Africa, like all the speakers ahead of me have said, our diversity is enormous. Our food, we are diverse in food and nutrition. We are diverse in geographically speaking, in our ethnicity, political ideology, how we even treat ourselves when we are not well. We are so diverse in so many ways. But the question is, how do we derive strength from our diversity? And I would like to have this conversation. I just want to make a brief statement because I know all of you are tired. In relation to Ghana's political stability, how has Ghana been able to achieve political stability in the volatile sub-region although there's so much diversity in every area? That is what I want to talk about tonight. Ghana is so diverse in so many ways. If you talk about tribes, there are over 80 tribes making the nation called Ghana. And based on the similarities of these tribes in their languages, it's been grouped to 5 major ethnic groups. And we have been able to live so well as a people. Recently, you are aware that Burkina Faso has just faced some political uprising, that the military has taken over the reign of that country. You go to Mali, it's the same thing. You go to Guinea, it's the same thing. And so many political issues within the sub-region. But Ghana has been able to hand over political power from one political party of different ideology to another for some time now. We have held free and fair and transparent elections for some time now. Ghana is thriving democratically. How have we been able to achieve all of this in a country with over 80 dialects? How have we been able to achieve that? If you come to Ghana, religious issues are paramount. Ghanaians are very, very religious. We have Christianity, we have Islam, and we have the African traditional religion. All of them living within the confines of a country called Ghana. How have we been able to manage our religion in such a way that on his 100th birthday, the national chief imam of the Muslim community in Ghana went into the Catholic Church auditorium to celebrate his 100 years anniversary birthday? How have we been able to achieve all of that religious integration in the midst of diversity? If you come to Ghana, politically speaking, we have the Convention People's Party led by Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to decolonize Ghana and then the entire African continent. We also have the National Democratic Congress that has restored power and multi-party democracy into this country after a long time of military rules. Then you have currently the New Patriotic Party that is in government ruling. So with these three major political parties with different ideologies and diversity, with all manner of differences in the way we think and the approach and our dealings and all of that, how have we been able to achieve political stability in the environment that is so volatile? We have been able to achieve this thing because from day one, every Ghanaian growing up, they put a philosophy in your head to let you know that diversity, inside diversity, there's strength. And you must always look out for strength. So they give some philosophies like the human fingers are not the same in height and size, but each and every one of them has a role to play. So growing up, they'll put that right in your head, that you go and meet a tall person, short person, fat person, slim person. Every one of them have a role to play in this ecosystem. So that is philosophy number one that they put in our heads. The philosophy number two is that we have a kind of cloth in Ghana we call the kente cloth, and it's made of multicolors. So they will say that in the diversity of the colors, the kente becomes beautiful. So the kente is not made of only black or white, but you find black somewhere, white somewhere, yellow somewhere, blue somewhere. And when these colors blend, it becomes beautiful. That is what we call diversity, deriving strength in diversity. The deriving strength in diversity is very, very important in everything that we do in this country. Another philosophy they put in our heads is that when two trees stand at the same spot, they scratch each other no matter what you do. When two trees stand, they germinate, grow up, occupy the same spot. The truth is that they scratch each other. And in scratching each other means as long as we live in the continent called Africa, as long as we live in a country called Ghana, as long as we live in an ethnic group called Gadangbe, as long as we live in a community called Somanya, definitely we are going to have issues with each other because the tongue and the teeth, they always fight. Whenever you are enjoying a good meal, by the time you realize you are beating your tongue, but nobody goes into your mouth to settle the issue between the tongue and the teeth. So they put all these philosophies right from the word go in our heads in Ghana, that in the midst of diversity lies strength, and diversity will always bring the color. So whatever you do, you must make sure that you promote diversity. And they use other means also to teach diversity. And one of them is our boarding school system in Ghana. When you complete the junior high school, they take you to the senior high school, which is mostly boardingized. So you leave your community, assuming you are in the eastern region, you can go to Western or Central or Bronx Ahafo or Northern or Upper East, Upper West, or even Volta region to have your your senior high school education. And that one, you are not going to live with your parents. You're going to live in the boarding school, where the school would give you accommodation, provide your feeding and your care and everything. In that particular environment, you're going to live with people from all over the country. You're going to live with the Gomba people, the Ga people, Ashantis, Kwawu people, all manner of people from different ethnic backgrounds. So you're going to live with them, and that you are expected to network, to be able to connect with them right from that word go. So that as you meet again in political arena, as you live again in the religious arena, as you meet again in other dispensations like the Black National Soccer Team Black Stars, you have already connected already at the boarding school system. So you are together in everything you do. We forge ahead. I must say that this topic is so relevant. And I believe that Africa itself will pick this conversation right from what IDYM also has done and carry this conversation forward. Because for some time now, like the immediate speaker, Madam Dr. Patricia has said, even people come to our country with the same skin color, the same orientation, and we think they are our enemies, and we treat them the way animals will not even be treated. You understand? We are the same people. We need to embrace diversity. It is time for us as Africans to work together to promote our diversity. For several years now, it has been a thorn in our flesh. It has eaten us up like cancer. It has beaten us down. It has disintegrated us. It has even led to us supporting people coming to this land to take our fellow human beings in chains as enslaved people into the diaspora. This must stop. We need to promote diversity, our diversity. We need to derive that strength that is in it there. And it is not going to fall from the sky. It is not going to drop from heavens. We need to be strategic. We need to be deliberate. We need to be particular about this, that we want to derive strength from our various diversities. On that note, I once again like to thank you so much for this opportunity. And I thank you all of you for staying that long up to this time. I once again say thank you from the Republic of Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And it was really great listening from you about your country, Ghana, and the education system that we have over there. And yes, it's the time that we talk about strength and diversity. And yes, of course, unity has a lot of strength, and we need to have the strength among us still, like we are talking about Africa. So thank you very much for joining and sharing your views with us. It was really a great topic, great presentation coming from us. And I think by now we are done with all the speakers from Africa. And some of our Indian friends have also joined. So I think Revati ma'am, would you like to speak something?
Namaste, ma'am. So, thank you, Anjali Krishna, PK Rajput sir, for giving me this opportunity. So, welcome to my dignitaries and happy African Day. Today we are celebrating African Day. So, in this day we are discussing on the theme strength in diversity. So, according to the concept of strength in diversity, a group, organization, or society might benefit from having members with a wide variety of opinions, upbringings, and experiences. So it acknowledges that people with diverse backgrounds, including those in terms of business culture, then gender, ability, and other aspects of diversity brings special skills, perspectives, and ideas that can foster the problem solving thinking and the innovation. So the idea of strength in diversity is the best summarized by some of what I would like to discuss here, like the multiple viewpoints are also there. So diversity brings together people from various backgrounds, culture, and the thought process. So this variety of viewpoints enables a wide range of concepts and the methods for problem solving and the selecting opinions. First of all, the increased innovation. When people with diverse backgrounds and experiences collaborate, they can generate more innovative and creative solutions. So diversity fosters a culture of open-mindedness, challenging the status quo and exploring new possibilities also. Then second is the broader skills traits. Of course, diverse teams often possesses a wide range of skills, knowledge, and expertise. So each individual brings their unique talents, their strengths, and capabilities, so which can complement and enhance the overall skill set of the group. So next is enhanced learning. In diverse environments, individuals have the opportunity to learn from others who have different perspectives and backgrounds. So exposure to different culture, language, and traditions can promote the cultural understanding, empathy, and personal growth. The next is the better decision making. Of course, diverse groups often make different or they can make the better decisions due to the collective wisdom and varied viewpoints of their members. So research also suggested that diverse teams are more likely to consider a wide range of opinions. They evaluate the risks more effectively and avoid the group thing. It also improved the relationships and inclusion also. So embracing a diverse foster, that is the sense of belonging and inclusion for individuals for all backgrounds. Means when people feel valued and respected for who they are more likely to form positive relationships, collaborate effectively, and contribute their best work. So it is important to note that while diversity is a valuable asset, it must also be accompanied by the inclusive practices and the equitable policies to fully realize its benefits. So when individuals from diverse backgrounds are given equal opportunities, treated with fairness also, and empowered to contribute, the strength in diversity can truly be harnessed. So this is my all points regarding the strength in diversity. So once again, happy African Day, and thank you all for giving me this golden opportunity to listen all the dignitaries. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you for being with us for so long. You have been waiting, and you have been listening to each and every speaker right from the beginning of the conference. And thanks for sharing some of very beautiful views. Like you talked about empathy, you talked about better discriminating. This was all these things are necessary. It doesn't matter in which part of the world we are living and what kind of culture we are following, but yes, these are some basic human qualities that are required, to go towards the development, to develop our country, to develop our nation, or develop the whole world as a whole. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining and sharing your stories with us. Yes, any more speakers who have been left? Because I have been announcing the names that let me see. Jintana ma'am from Thailand, are you there? Or Dr. Oliver? Dr. Oliver and Jintana Harmana from Thailand. If you are there, I can see you in the meeting. Okay, or anyone else, like Rachna Chakravarti ma'am has also joined. So anyone who would like to speak? Any one of the speakers who have joined us in the meeting? Rachna ma'am, yes.
Yeah, hello, Dr. Anju ma'am. I just wanted to wish there's a lot of noise here right now. I couldn't join in properly, but I was there. I was listening to all the speeches. Yes, on this great day, on the African Day, I would like to wish everyone happy African Day to all of you. And thanks to IDYM for bringing all the countries together. It's a global organization which respects all the country. So that a grand salute for organizations like this. So thank you so much, IDYM, for giving the platform. I won't be able to speak much today because there's a lot of noise in the background, and it's little this thing. But yes, it's thank you to Patricia ma'am. I had heard her speaking so nicely about it. And Imam Sir, I think he's not there. Rania ma'am explained lending hands, that yes, we need to lend hands to collaborate and bring the change, especially in the field of education, which is needed. If we educate the young minds, and we can surely bring around the change, the massive change. Thank you. And Dr. Anjum, hats off to you. Grand salute to you. So just taking all the sessions so nicely, consecutively, day after day. So it's a grand salute to you. Thank you so much, IDYM and Engineer Ravi Shankar ji. A deep gratitude from everyone from India, as well as hats off to everyone from Africa. Happy African Day to all of you. Thank you so much, Dr. Anjum.
Thank you, ma'am. And we are really happy to have you and listen to you. Though I think this is embarrassing. I still said there's a lot of noise. You said okay, but still, I could see you. You are there with us for a very long time, and you have been observing. And you had just spoke about what the earlier speakers have spoken on the stage. And with this, I think we come to the end of this conference that has been organized in the occasion of African Day. And yes, we had the theme Strength in Diversity. And I can see the speakers who have joined from different countries of Africa, and also from other countries too. Like we had Rania ma'am, we had Laura ma'am from Romania, we had Hadiana ma'am from Indonesia, we had Rubin sir from Peru, and all that. So that was really an amazing thing, seeing every one of you sharing their views, and every one of them, yes, there was a common message coming from all of you. Yes, we need to collaborate, we need to support each other. And because Africa, yes, it is a land with rich culture, with rich resources. The thing is that we need to support each other, and we need to lend our hands to it. So that was a very great conference, and I think I cannot end this conference without expressing my gratitude towards the organizer of this conference, Engineer Ravi Shankar sir, the founder of IDYM Foundation, and of course the CNP Venus ma'am and our CEO Denul Asmi, who have been working hard to organize such wonderful conferences one after the other. So I would like to thank everyone, all the speakers, all the yes, of the chief guests for the today's function, Dr. Rajput sir, and then all the guest of honors and all the guest speakers who have joined us. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for making this conference successful. So congratulations to you all. Thank you. Good night.